I felt like I was doing everything in the house even though it was Mother's Day, and my husband completely relied on me for everything, so I was running away with my children. This morning, I woke up early to order myself coffee so he could take our son to pick it up and surprise me. Then they went to the grocery store, thoughtfully picked out my favorite breakfast, and came home. My husband made half of the breakfast and then asked me to make the other half. It was no problem. He acknowledged that he was asking me to do the work while still taking credit for the benefit of our kids' experiences and memories. It was no problem until he went upstairs to go to the bathroom. After 45 minutes, I walked upstairs to check on him, and he was asleep in our bed. He slept the entire afternoon. Later that day I was doing the absolute mountain of dishes and he asked me to make a grocery list. I asked if he could please make the list because I was in the middle of doing the dishes, and further tried to coax him by playfully using Mother's Day. I really didn't want to drop what I was doing to look in the fridge. He was already standing right in front of me to tell him what we needed for dinner. He knows what the ingredients are, he could easily look himself, but he insisted I help him. I was super frustrated, so I took a deep breath, washed and dried my hands, and then opened the fridge and told him what we needed. He could sense my frustration and called me on it. I explained that I was hoping he could make a list himself just this once because I was in the middle of doing the dishes. I explained that when I make a grocery list I just look at what we have and write down what we don't have, and I didn't understand why he needed my help. He started talking over me to say if I had a problem making a grocery list with him I should just have told him. I told him that I did communicate that with him, and he doubled down and told me I needed to learn some patience. I smiled and said Happy Father's Day, because it was the nicest thing I could think to say. That completely set him off. He went off on me, refused to get ingredients to make our dinner, bought dinner for only himself and our kids, and has been giving me the silent treatment for over an hour. He says I went too far. Am I the a-hole here? Update. Since Sunday I have not lifted a single finger for baby Sinclair, unless it directly impacts our kids. Every time he requests my help or to do something for him that he can do himself I just use my absolute sweetest voice to let him know he doesn't need my help and I believe in his ability to complete the task himself. Then I smile and walk away. The third time I did this, he said I was making him uneasy. I could not help but to laugh out loud, which made him announce that he felt more uneasy. I know it wasn't kind, but I calmly told him he is a pathetic human. I told him I'm sorry it has to be me, but someone in his life needs to tell him to grow the fuck up. I told him I care about him and I love him but I will not tolerate being treated with disrespect even one more day. He said I was abusive. The actual audacity. I spared the divorce conversation. I began to gray rock to throw off his cycle of attempting to rope me back into the argument from the other day. I have calmly listened to him gush over his love for our family, and how much he loves and appreciates me and thinks I am an amazing mom. He says he loves me but all I hear in my head is his voice screaming fucking biatch at me. It all sounds so obviously disingenuous. I told him his words mean literally nothing while his behavior is the same. It's like saying waffles have legs. It sounds unbelievable and if I don't see it with my own eyes, I'm not believing it. I told him regardless of whether in the end we stay together or not, we need to go back to therapy as a duo and separately. I told him he needs to take steps today to move forward with therapy and treating his mental health appropriately. He agreed, but no evidence of walking waffles yet. I am surprised at my ability to refuse to do anything he can do himself completely. I'm more surprised that he's actually doing the tasks himself. I have tried this before and he ultimately bullies me into doing the task. Not this time. He keeps complaining about his results in ways that are so juvenile and manipulative, always leaving the impression that if I had just done it for him it would have been done correctly. I just smile and tell him he did a good job with the task and that it sounds like he needs more practice and eventually, it will become second nature. I feel his attempts to make me miserable, but it is rolling right off me, at least for now. Update 2. First, since Mother's Day he has not shown any sort of attempts for progress. He has lost his control and repeatedly called me a fucking BTCH and other awesome pet names for his minor irritations towards me. Example, I asked him if he wanted my help bringing in groceries. Apparently, he wanted to do it himself to let me relax, and my offering ruined his plan so he was essentially throwing an adult version of a tantrum. I explained that it doesn't feel like a genuine gesture especially because now I'm being yelled at for offering to help. LOL. Okay, pal. At one point I became petty and told him to use I statements because that's his go-to therapy speak that he uses on me as a dog whistle during arguments and therapy appointments. He lost his poop, which then made me laugh because I literally do not understand if this is really his perception of reality. I can't take him seriously. I find myself laughing more now than ever, and it's not to mock him, I just can't control my disbelief and don't know how else to cope. Second, I have realized that while I do love and care about him, he does not clearly respect me as a person, a mother, or his partner. He doesn't respect our kids. I can't realistically continue living with someone who tries to control my entire life. What kind of life is that to live? I took advice from many comments left on my original post and reached out to friends and family I had been isolated from. The reception was better than I anticipated. I didn't expect the hurt I felt when I found out every single one of them said they wondered if I was in an abusive marriage, but not one of them ever asked me directly when I completely withdrew. I don't blame them, but it was hard to ignore the pain I felt from that. This was also a reason I never reached out to anyone when things got really bad. It seemed like they have their own lives to worry about and clearly weren't concerned about my absence. A couple of the people I reached out to were lifelong friends that I had to formally end friendships with when I started dating my husband because of his jealousy, and I never got to mourn those friendships. It felt like a piece of me that had been broken began to heal. Anyway, it was a positive step because some of my family members were relieved I opened up to them and now I don't feel so isolated and alone. So thank you to everyone who encouraged me to do that. 4. I am not sure what my next steps are, but I feel more confident about my path forward. I do know that from here on out I'm doing whatever the fuck I want. Update 3. I knew I was in an abusive marriage, but I was stuck. I continued to be stuck until it escalated beyond return. I wanted to update you to show how things can escalate. The next month after my original post, he pushed me backward on the stairs. The month after that, he started threatening his life if I didn't stay with him. The month after that, he started looking into buying a gun. The month after that, he was physically extremely violent to me in front of our kids and emotionally violent towards them. Police were called multiple nights in a row. My kids and I have stayed at someone else's house since mid-November. We left with a weekend's worth of clothes each, toothbrushes, and some of their favorite toys that I could quickly grab. We are starting completely over and it feels very weird. From my previous post, he drained the savings I had accumulated to escape with my kids. I am finding a new job and have a GFM open as a desperate attempt at leaning on the community. As weird and scary as this process has been, I have never felt safer. My kids have never been happier.